D&D Davidson, LiveWeatherBlogs.com overnight edition. Here we're going to go into first severe weather. This is something we haven't seen in a while. This is for Monday. Slight risk here in the Midwest. Davidson risk factor for this is going to be a 70 percentile on the hail, an 80 on the wind, and a 40 on the tornadoes. Like I said, we're getting the first time we're going to see some actual good severe weather possibly pop up here in North Dakota, South Dakota, and northern Nebraska. Today we may see an isolated shot back here in the monsoon region, but better shot is definitely going to be on the day on Monday. Lots of tropics to go through tonight. This satellite images are going to be from the Weather Underground and from the NOAA site. You'll see both of those images being used. You can see this is Hurricane Danielle. Still has winds of 105 miles an hour. This is the island of Bermuda, directly east of there. Still has a good eye and a buzzsaw look to it as it moves to the north-northeast at 19 miles an hour, and it may affect the voyage to the Titanic area, believe it or not. And this also should become extratropical very shortly. This map is derived from the National Hurricane Center. You can see where it's at now, and general direction where it's going to move to the northeast and out of the picture. It has been causing some high waves from Maine all the way down here through South Carolina, so the swells have been pushing in. And believe it or not, that's going to continue with the way we've been getting we're going to get in these tropical systems. And I'll show you that when I go through the computer models for each of these storms, which will be momentarily. Computer models are pretty much in pretty good agreement here. What will happen with this, at least out through about 96 hours. Then it gets a little funky, but it'll be extratropical by then. So we really won't worry about that, but it could become a massive low-pressure system that may affect the English Isles next week. Tropical Storm Earl. This is my main man, Earl. This could be an interesting storm for the East Coast. Please stay with LiveWeatherBlogs.com. 65-mile-an-hour winds at this hour, but I'm saying stay with LiveWeatherBlogs.com. It's projected to become a major hurricane, and the path of uncertainty is very wide, and in the next day or so this path of uncertainty could be touching the United States of America. So Earl will gain some strength as it goes past the northern parts of the islands, may affect the northern islands, parts of Puerto Rico, with some wind and some rain. Earl looks a lot better than it did this morning's run, and it'll project it to move west-northwest. Like I said, it may be affecting the islands very within the next 24 to 36 hours. Thus why there is a hurricane watch for Puerto Rico and the islands up here. So like I said, this is becoming serious for certain areas, and there's a hurricane watch, and this may be projected to a hurricane warning rather shortly when this becomes a hurricane and it remains on its track. Computer models, which are changing with every run it seems, with Earl, has it coming west-northwest and then projected to make the turn. How far west this makes the turn will be projected on how far west the storm goes, will be projected on how much impact there may be for this region. I'd be very in tune to it over the next few days to see what happens. I went, anywhere from Maine down through South Carolina. I'd be keeping your eyes out here for Earl, because it's still up in the air what may happen with Earl. There's no clear cut. Yes, it's definitely going to turn out to sea. Like I said, it gets closer to the Bahamas. We may have some more issues here along the Mid-Atlantic and East Coast. Model intensity brings this up to a major hurricane for the most part in most models here. The only one it's not is the HWRF, and that model's here and there sometimes, so you have to watch on that model. But a lot of them bring it to about 115, and the ship's model has been pretty accurate as of late. Brings it up to around the 120 mark, 125. So we definitely have to watch Earl. What may become Fiona is looking a little bit better organized tonight. I'd watch this over the next day or two to become a depression, possibly a storm, as it's going across the Atlantic Ocean. Computer models on this are way far out, pretty wide trajectory. When we get towards the end, we have one that's turning it west and one that's turning it north through Bermuda. So look at the wide projection, almost a 90-degree angle on these models. So I would not look too far into this for the next day or two, but we definitely should take a look at this. It may follow the same pattern as Earl, or it may, depending on the speed of Earl, get what I was looking at model earlier, get sucked into Earl or projected around Earl. So there's a couple of possibilities with this, so we have to keep an eye on this. This would be Fiona if it develops. Intensity model shows strong tropical storm or hurricane within 60 hours. I say while we're staying in the tropics, might as well go into some other tropics going on. This is out in the western Pacific. Tropical storm Lion Rock. Lion Rock looks to make landfall in China. Then we have Tropical Storm 8, projected to become at least a Category 2 hurricane as it comes through the islands and goes towards further north in Japan, in China, excuse me. So tropics are very active. We have one more tropical entity. This is in the central Atlantic. You can see this may become a tropical depression shortly, possibly tropical storm. But this is just some of the information you can get from these storms. The tropics, not just in our neck of the woods, but around the world, are pretty active right now. I'm going to show you the run, the 18 Zulu run here that was made. This is for the GFDL model. This is Earl right here. You can see Earl comes up and it slides. It starts making that turn. This is one of the models. This is off the Florida State University meteorology page. This is just one model that I want to show you. I'm going to show you a few others. You can see it would be a hurricane also at this point, and a major hurricane probable. Here's the GFS run. This is one of the reasons I want to get into this, because I think this is very important to see what happened here. This would be Earl right here. And you can see how close it comes to the coastline of North Carolina, even New Jersey. This is one of the reasons why we cannot count out the possibility of something happening on the East Coast this next coming week. This is why we want you to watch this. It's one of many computer models, but still, you can see how strong of a hurricane it becomes and where its proximity is to the Mid-Atlantic states. You also see what maybe Fiona, like, it fizzles out here and it gets absorbed into Earl. This is one of the reasons. If we went by this, if we took this computer model only and said, okay, 100 and let me see what the hours are. 160, 180 hours out, there would be effects from North Carolina straight up to New Jersey and Long Island. That would just be wind and rain. So, as I said, this is why it's ever changing. This is why we need to keep an eye on these. And that's why I'm showing you different computer models, to show you there's a difference in every computer model, and it'll change whenever you want. Here's the HWRF model. You can see it rides it in near the Bahamas and then starts turning it. Where this turns is going to be everything, really. When it comes to it, this is going to be what can be interesting about this. And this goes out only 126 hours. This don't go out as long as the GFS does. But here's my point exactly. This turns a little bit further out to sea. How big of a storm, how big of a hurricane it is at that time, and how wide it is, and how big it is. This will all be part of. This is a CMC model. And this model shows Earl here. It projects it moving close to the. This would bring rain and possibly wind to the Carolinas also, if it projectedly happened. And then you can also see it brings Fiona up here. Is something else. One thing I also worry about is if this fights with any of these lower highs, this could leave this open to make a play for the southeast. But we have to keep an eye on all this stuff. This is all projections out above 100 hours. So I just wanted to show you different stuff that we were looking at. Now we'll get into the forecast for the Triad and Roanoke valleys. You see the heat waves on here in the Triad, 90 degrees, 92 Monday, 94 Tuesday. Chance of thunderstorms on Wednesday, up, getting closer to 100. Then we're watching the tropics. I would say Wednesday and Thursday we need to be watching the tropics in the North Carolina and in the Roanoke Valley, which is the next forecast. Roanoke Valley, partly sunny through Wednesday. Then chance of thunderstorms and showers, and also same here, watching the tropics to see what would happen and what kind of precipitation we may get from it, if any. So we have the heat wave building in, and stay with liveweatherblogs.com for the latest information on the tropics and for your forecast for this area. This is Dean D. Davison, liveweatherblogs.com. Have a great day.